Destination.
Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York, and we invade California once again, and we are here with Chris Lord Alge. Thank you for your time today.
Hey Alex, what's happening? Heavy New York, how you doing?
Yeah, and we're in LA.
All right, how's that happening? Wow, you came out here with all us fuckers.
What kind of pandemonium is that?
Yeah, that's painful just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Hey, I came out here.
Yeah.
I got a one-way ticket. I couldn't get a return, so I've been out here since '89. I can't go back. They won't let me. So anyway.
Yeah, but it's great to have you here. You have mixed a lot of records that a lot of people in the world of heavy metal know, with bands such as Skillet and 3 Days Grace, Flyleaf, and so on and so forth.
Heavy metal. And another one right now called In Flames.
I'm a huge fan of In Flames,
I'm
classic
doing the new
Swedish
album
death
right,
metal.
right now.
Really?
Is it Swedish death metal?
Well, they kind of, that's what the move with bands like At the Gates and The Haunted and Soilwork, they kind of changed their sound over the years.
Well, they don't sound like death metal, but they're pretty good.
Listen to the Clayman record and Reroute to Remain, and you'll think different.
Right.
But I was always curious, in the process of mixing a record, what is always the first thing that you have in mind and how you want to bring your mix to the record?
Well, I mean, let's just talk about that specific type of records, right?
Yeah.
3 Days Grace or Skillet or Shinedown or In Flames. Now, I'm not going to bunch them all together and say, oh, they're all sound the same, but the problem solving of it is all the same, okay? You're trying to pound 3 pounds of bologna in a 1 pound bag. You're trying to put so much excitement in one place, but also keep the intent of the band similar. So the thing that makes those records different for me is, okay, the personality of the drummer and the personality of the singer. You start there, okay? And what's the electricity in the rhythm section? For example, Rise Against. Here's a perfect example for that. Rise Against, the bass player, Joe. I call him Pizza Box, right? He's got a grindy, bright sound that is super characteristic of who they are. So you have to make sure you nail Pizza Box's sound, Joe's sound, okay? And also with the singer, you got to make sure you nail his in-your-face, dry sound. For example, like Billy Talent. Billy Talent's records are like AC/DC. I mean, they're even drier than AC/DC. They're even drier than the fucking Sahara. They're like, a Billy Talent record is like so forward sounding, okay? Now, 3 Days Grace, another band, which is, Neil, the drummer, right? He's an amazing drummer. He's the drummer that doesn't cross his hands. He plays drums and never crosses the streams, okay? So, it's so crazy to watch him, Mr. Sanderson. So, he has another big, more arena drum sound, right? And that band has gone through a couple of changes. So, and then even In Flames, which I'm doing now, or Bullet Through with my Valentine, it's all trying to crack the code of what they're looking for. And even Volbeat, all right? Volbeat's another strange band where you got to have the vocal like really forward, okay? He's that kind of guy where when I was mixing not this album, but the one before, how loud they wanted the vocal was incredible. But hey, that's their sound. So, each one of them has its own challenges.
I could imagine. And you kind of just answered my next question, because I've always considered people who mix a record to be like the 5th or 6th, if you're in Slipknot, the 10th Beatle, more or less. Now,
the 11th member of Slipknot, right?
But when a band approaches you wanting, are they looking for you to add your sort of mix to it, or do you kind of like adapt? Do they tell you this is what we want and you kind of work around that?
Let's just go right back to Slipknot. I want to go on tour and just play kegs. I want to be on stage and play a keg. I want to play beer keg. I want to have my name listed as CLA beer keg. All right. I want to bang beer kegs, and I want to bang it in Madison Square Garden, and I want to wear a mask. Okay, so I'm ready to go. Even if or I can go on stage with Ghost, because they're cool too. So yeah. I love that band. Okay, so your question's about, you got to remember, every band's ego is all about their sound, their thing. What you're trying to bring is just larger-than-life versions of what they've already heard. They've already heard their record, or their previous record, or their previous 4 records have sounded this way. My job is to come in and make it go like this, make it bigger and more exciting, where I get hired for the next 10 records. Most of the bands like 3 Days Grace or other ones, they just hire me to keep going until they think they can replace me, which isn't going to happen. Because, I try to make them happy. Like Green Day, for example, which they're not a metal band, they're a rock band, but with most of these bands, we're in it forever, like Billy Talent, like every single song. many of these bands that I work with, I've done every single song with them, especially 3 Days Grace. So you're just trying to solve the problem for them, which is to find their sound.
Absolutely. Now, in addition to the world of rock and metal, you have worked with a variety of different artists and music. You've worked with Avril Lavigne. You've worked, I believe, with Faith Hill on one record.
We've done some country records.
Yep. So, depending on the style of music you're working from, is it like a different mind frame at all in mixing, or just a completely different process in general?
Well, you just can't put a fuzz box in everything in country. You got to go the other way. And Mice and Men, another one I did. I like those guys too.
Oh yeah, Defy's an amazing record.
They're pretty cool. Those guys are fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and they had the cover of Money. That's so badass.
They reinvented that song.
Yeah, that so kicks ass. Their cover of Mice and Men, Money. Get it. Be there. Music doesn't matter. The hat doesn't matter, because whether I'm mixing Bublé or Bon Jovi or it's Switchfoot or Shinedown or Slipknot or Mastodon or whatever, you put the faders up, it dictates where it's got to go. In Flames, even though some of the songs have probably got the kick drum record where it's the most kick drums in one song. In 4 minutes, it's like 100,000 kick drums. It's like, it's like I'm going to fucking Chicago in Capone days. How you doing, right? But it's where, whether it's that or, look, I do Keith Urban, I do Carrie Underwood, I do a lot of country artists. It's all about, it dictates it. It tells me what it's doing. Now, to me, the thing I like about country is that country is like looking back at 80s rock and redoing that. So a lot of country stuff I mix, it's big drums, it's big guitars, Sure, some of it's mandos and banjos and ganjos, but look, if it's a good song, it's a good song. I don't care. I love to have my day start out with, how about Faith Hill for breakfast and ended up with In Flames for dinner? What the hell? Bring it. I like variety. If you're just mixing heavy metal day in and day out, it gets really old. But when you go back and forth between it, when you're playing beer pong and each cup is a different kind of music, what could be better?
Exactly.
So,
it keeps it interesting.
Well, whether it's Switchfoot, Sugarland, or freaking, any of those bands. I mean, I like the variety.
Absolutely. Now, you kind of, in a way, you keep answering my next question, which is awesome, but you've been in the game now for a very long time. At this point in your career, when you are working on a new record, is it a completely different experience, or at this point, like, you kind of know what to do and it's almost kind of like just there and you have an idea?
Let's put it this way. It's good every day. It never gets old. It's always a challenge, even though I mixed the 10 Commandments, and I've been around since then. And, I even Jesus Christ's first single, I mixed that also. Doesn't even matter if my first records came out on Stone. Every single day, it's a restart. It's okay. It's like Groundhog Day. Every single day you come in, you suck until you what you deliver and they like, okay? And it doesn't matter. The problem's different. Now, the advantage I have is because of the experience, I know how to navigate the waters, and I'm not afraid. Well, I'm not afraid no matter what. I give a shit. But the big part of the gig is, how do you deal with the artist? Okay, how do you navigate dealing with the artist? Look, my job is to serve the music and serve the artist. So as long as you keep those two things in mind, everything is easy. If you're not serving the music or serving the artist, then what are you doing? You're serving yourself? No. So you got to figure out what makes them happy. It may be the bass player's brother is the ears of the band. It may be the singer hates everything you've ever done, and the only thing he likes is maybe the mixes you're doing now for him. So, it doesn't matter with Avril Lavigne or any band or an artist that's on the other side of the world or can't speak your language or is from Japan and you're trying to translate. What matters is finding that common ground where you can communicate and figure out what they're looking for. Because your job is to make them happy any which way you can do it. Absolutely. As long as you're on the CLA 10s.
Exactly. Now, the final question I would like to ask is, I heard a quote one time saying, a song is complete when there's nothing left to take out. I heard another person say that a song is complete when there's something left to add in. In your eyes, when is a song finished?
When there's nothing worth to take out. All right, to me, when a song is finished, when I listen back and find that there's no more problems to solve. Because to me, a song is complete when I see the vision in my head and I hear it in my head, okay? And when I play back and mix to print it, it means I've gone through and solved the problems, okay? And people say a song is finished when there's nothing left to take out. Doesn't make any sense to me. You can always take something out, all right? Maybe that's a production thing, right? To me, a song is finished and there's a clock on it, okay? The clock ticks. As soon as you start listening to the song till the time you're done, the least amount of time you spend on it, the better the mix is going to be. The more time you drag it out, you're just beating it into the ground. You're completely ruining it, okay? So you want to actually make it seem like you are on a piece of ice in the middle of the summer floating out in the ocean. And it's melting, and when it melts, you're done. So you want to finish the mix before the ice melts. Which means, that it's not that I'm trying to do it quickly. I'm trying to solve it and make it exciting without losing the energy of it. So to me, it's all problem solving. It's like, okay, vocals are perfect there. Up, that guitar riff, that's doing that, that's doing that. If everything's doing what it's supposed to do in the song, my job is finished here.
Absolutely.
And of course, if I'm mixing on the CLA-10s and the snare drum's loud enough. Because I've always known to have a loud snare drum, but that's because that's all I care about.
It's rock and roll. It needs to be loud.
Well, if the drums are, the drums are loud. If you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with the snare. I mean,
some of my early '80s mixes, the friggin' snare drum is so loud it takes out a whole city block.
Hey, you know what? It's setting the precursors for Saint Anger. So.
Well, I was just trying to remember a conversation I had with an artist back in the '80s. He goes, "This snare is really loud. The kick and snare is super loud." I listened back to that record and go, wow, that guy was right. I was doing really good drugs back then, but I was always trying to get like the drums really forward like Bob Clearmountain. Anyway, Alex, what else you got for me?
Just a thank you for your time today and giving us the rundown of everything in the songwriting process.
Chris Lord Alge for Heavy New York here in Tarzana, California.
Buy the CD and read the booklet. You'll probably see his name on it.
One of them.
We'll see you next time, everybody.